Hey everybody, Derek here. I'm here to bring you my video for The Walking Dead Season 5 review for the episode Strangers that just premiered this evening. My overall impression of the episode was that it was very good. There were a lot of things that I liked about it. It was a pretty good follow-up to No Sanctuary. I think that they did a lot of great things in this, and I'm basically going to give my review of it and give my thoughts on the various plot points. So just in case you have not watched the episode yet, there will be spoilers. And I'm also going to be doing some connections with the comics as well as a little bit of prediction for next week as well. So if you don't want to know any of that either, please do not watch the video because I don't want to spoil anybody. Okay. Well, when we started out the episode, one of the things that I really liked about it was that they really got a lot of the conflicts under the bridge right away. We kind of established now that this group is in it together. Whatever the heck happened before, that's in the past. Rick talked with Tara and he was like, the reason why I came down and was talking to you, you specifically, was because I could tell that you didn't want to be there. So you see that Tara gets forgiveness from Rick. She's welcomed into the group because they know that she has some of the same ideals. Of course, Rick doesn't tell anybody else that Tara's in the group, and Tara, is keeping quiet, and you can see her throughout the episode. She's looking at Maggie, and I'm starting to wonder, like, oh, what's going on there? And it's pretty clear that she feels bad, and that's totally understandable. And in this episode, she comes to terms with what she did, and she tells Maggie that she was with the governor's group. Maggie forgives her, and I think that there was a lot of things that went into that. One, she realizes that Tara, that's not something that Tara wanted to do, and you can really see too, Maggie really is Herschel's daughter. She has a lot of things about him that they're very similar. They're both very faithful. They both have strong spiritual connections, and I think that it's just it was in Herschel's nature to forgive, and I think that that's how Maggie is. So that conflict got taken care of right away, really quickly. I'm glad they at least addressed it. And then Rick also addressed Carol. He admitted that there were some things that he still couldn't accept about that, but that he owes a lot to Carol for coming in and saving the group, and he's gonna pay her back for that. And he welcomes her back in with open arms as well. So it's a very nice core connected group, and I really like that. Then we get to a big part where they meet up with Father Gabriel, and Father Gabriel is on top of a large boulder, hiding from the walkers. And thankfully, the group was nearby. Carl overhears and says, "Hey, we got to go." And they take out the walkers and save Father Gabriel. And I have to say, I really like Father Gabriel, especially Seth Gilliam's portrayal so far. I thought the sarcasm was just right, because I'm a big fan of the comic books too. And, I figured that this is exactly how Father Gabriel was, and I don't think Seth Gilliam disappointed in any way. I really enjoyed his level of sarcasm that he displayed as Father Gabriel. And I also like how, they really did a good job of transitioning a couple of things. He's definitely sarcastic. He makes comments like, "Oh, I'm just gonna take you guys over here, but there may not be a church over here. I may just want to rob you of your squirrels." I mean, he's funny, and I really like that about him. It's definitely something entertaining that you need a couple of laughs on The Walking Dead, and he can definitely provide a couple. But you also know that he's strong, in his faith. He even challenges Rick. He's like, they're like, "How in the world have you survived? Like, what?" And he's like, "Hey, I called for help. I asked God for help. He provided. Amen." I mean, that's just, both worlds coming together, definitely was a very great moment for Father Gabriel. And you also know, I mean, as we know, I mean, Father Gabriel's not totally innocent. Something's going on here. I mean, Rick is already questioning him, and I think everybody has a right to. I mean, there's a preacher out here in the middle of nowhere who's still alive, who claims he's never killed walkers, he's never killed people. How in the world have you survived in this zombie apocalypse without hurting or killing anybody? Even a walker. I mean, if you want to necessarily consider them as somebody. I mean, it's just impossible. There's just no way that you could do that without have doing something, which I think that Rick and the group definitely recognizes, and they have every right to question. And of course, they get to the church and they see a couple of things that raise some red flags. I mean, they notice well, especially Carl. Carl being the most observant of them. He goes out and he shows his father. He's like, hey, there's scratch marks on the windows, and there's a written or carved into the wall of the church. It says, "You'll burn in hell for this." And again, going off of the comic books, paralleling the storyline, I have no doubt that they're really following very closely with Father Gabriel and what happened here. I think what was going on was very clear. He had people from his churchgoers coming to try to find sanctuary. He refused to give it to them. He locked himself inside the church because he didn't want to bring people in. He didn't want to get sick. He didn't want to waste his food. He was acting very selfishly. And I think that his, churchgoers recognized that, and they wrote on the wall there, because they were very upset that he would betray them like that. And I think that that's something that definitely will haunt Father Gabriel. We'll find out a little more about that. And I'm definitely very interested to learn more about Father Gabriel. I'm actually going to do a video sometime later this week about that, because one of the things that I find about Father Gabriel is that in the comics, he really is a great character, and I really like him, but later on, he just disappears for the most part. And, I really want to try to find some things about Father Gabriel that I hope they do different in the TV show. So I'm going to talk more about him and that in a separate video. Another thing, I thought that those walkers were absolutely disgusting. The ones that were down at that food bank, that was crazy. I mean, you figure like that's like going into a swimming pool and living in it for like your whole life. That was some disgusting stuff. I mean, the skin's like falling off, it's all over the place, and they go down there and they're you see just how talented Rick and the group are at thinking things through, figuring things out. They put the shelves up. It's very very effective. And I think that you could also tell how much Father Gabriel really isn't experienced with the outside world. On Talking Dead, they were doing a trivia quiz, and it said that Father Gabriel had been inside the church, I think, for about 17 months, if I'm not mistaken. So that's about the amount of time that Father Gabriel has been at the church, and that's about how long the zombie apocalypse has lasted. And he even said, he's like, oh, I haven't gone farther than, that boulder since this whole thing started. And you can tell just how much he's kept himself hidden from people. I mean, he's out there, he's like freaking out because there's walkers everywhere. And the one with the glasses, he knows her. I think it was just one of his, maybe one of his churchgoers. I'm not sure if there was anything more there. We might find out, but, you can see just how much that's affected him. And, again, if that was one of the people that he locked out of the church, again, that's going to haunt him. And I think that it's definitely going to play a factor in future episodes. So I'm definitely very excited to see how that's going to turn out. But I think that was a very interesting, sequence of events there. Those were definitely disgusting walkers. Definitely was great about the episode. A little side note, the group has decided to go to Washington, and, Rick was a little skeptical at first, but I think that there were a lot of things that came into the, scene, and Bob especially was somebody who was a very big advocate. He was like, Rick, we got to get up there, we got to do this, and, Rick is like, well, Bob, this is our world now, and I think that Rick's just afraid of following a fairy tale that doesn't have a happy ending, if you understand what I mean, Yeah, there's this big talk about Washington, but and that's what I like about Bob is just how much hope he has with his people, with the world being the way it is. He really has become a little bit more of like the moral guy. Now, will Father Gabriel lend to that? Maybe. Does he have much room to talk? I don't know, but definitely a lot of different conflicting ideas and feelings coming along. And I'm very interested to see how everything comes together later. So definitely was a very good sequence there. I really like how they are going to go to Washington. The only question is, when are they going to leave? Because, I mean, I don't think they're going to be leaving necessarily like next episode or even the week later, but are they going to be on their way by the mid-season finale? Well, we don't know. I'm assuming that might be what they're going to do, but we'll have to wait and see. But at least we know they're going. And it was nice to see Daryl and Carol finally back again, and you see that, Daryl really isn't thinking too much about Karen and David. And what's interesting is that, everybody else in the group, it's not that they necessarily accepted that, but they kind of moved past that. Everybody except Carol has overall for the most part, which makes sense. I mean, Carol's the one that did it. She's gonna hold that within herself. But Carol even said to Daryl, she's like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to bring it up. And Daryl's like, you don't have to. You can have a fresh start. This is it. We can do this. And it was nice to see those two interacting in a very positive manner. And I hope we see more interactions between them. We see that definitely Carol is suffering from that, which she should. I mean, taking the life of a human is never an easy thing. I can only imagine, and especially in the circumstances that Carol found herself doing it. I mean, it's different when you got somebody like Dave and Tony or the governor or somebody is trying to kill you and you kill them. It's a little bit more justifiable, understandable. You can move on a little bit, but not when you kill two people in cold blood overall. I mean, it's just, you're going to feel differently about it. And, she's inside the church and she flips the pages away from the thou shalt not kill. And I thought that was very pivotal, and it almost looks like Carol wants to leave the group. When Daryl and Carol found that car, it almost looked like Carol was trying to get it, she was trying to leave right at the end there and leave Daryl there. I don't think they were too far away from the church, so I think that she knew that Daryl would make it back. But, I have to wonder about that. Is it more of that Carol feels that she should be alone, or is it that she just can't face these people? There's a lot of different, questions I have about that, because I think it's a lot of things coming together. I think on the one hand, Carol, I mean, obviously is going to feel bad about this. It's always going to be a weight that she has to carry. But sometimes I wonder if she's too afraid that she's going to have to make that decision again. Which especially, about like how they were, when Carol and Tyrese were talking, like we shouldn't tell them what happened to Lizzie and Mika, because it's not like the group needs to learn anything more devastating about Carol than what they already know. And I just think that Carol might be afraid that she might have to make a decision like that again. And I think that might be why she wants to get away from the group. But before she can do that, they see the car with the cross go by, and of course Daryl recognizes that as the car that took Beth, and basically they get in and they follow it. So definitely a big question about who the car belongs to. I mean, we kind of are assuming right now that it is Father Gabriel's car, but Father Gabriel claims that he's never been that far from the church, and it makes you wonder, how much of the truth is he actually telling in regards to that, because he may just be involved with people, but he hasn't left the church. So I'm definitely interested to see where that leads to, because I think there's definitely a connection there. What are the chances that there's another car with a cross out there? Well, could be, but I'm just not buying it just yet. I think Father Gabriel definitely knows about the people that took Beth, and that car either belongs to him or he knows, or it was the church's or something. So I'm definitely interested to see how that pans out. I'm really hoping that we get more answers on that, and especially in the next episode or the one after. So definitely interested to see where that leads us. And then the final thing that's really, there to talk about is Bob and the Hunters. Bob in this episode, when they were down there in the food bank, he gets pulled under, just like in my prediction. He comes out from under there, and you just see like these subtle hints. Like, unfortunately, I think my prediction was correct. I say unfortunately because I love Bob. I think he's a great character. And again, you don't ever want to see people die. You just know that they have to. If nobody got killed off The Walking Dead, it just wouldn't be as entertaining of a show, because you would constantly be, thinking, oh, well, this group's just going to go around killing walkers and nothing bad's ever going to happen. It's just unrealistic. But Bob getting dragged under, it's definitely the perfect time for him to get a bite and not have to reveal it to anybody because nobody saw it. Another thing that you have going on is, he asked, Sasha for another kiss. You can tell that he just wants to get every last moment from this before it happens. And just Bob leaving the church and crying, I just know that, he's upset because he has to die, and, he's going to be leaving this group behind. I think that all of that came together. So no doubt in my mind, Bob's bitten. no doubt. And it's obviously in some place that can't be amputated, or else he would have said something. So he either got bit on the shoulder or somewhere on his torso. So we have that going on. Then Bob walks away and he gets taken. And well, we find out that it's Gareth. No surprise there. But a couple of other things definitely happened in that scene as well. One, that guy, I believe his name is Martin, the guy in the cabin from the premiere that Tyrese said he killed. Yeah, he's not dead. He got a nice, decent beating, but he's not dead. And well, I was watching Talking Dead, and I watched Talking Dead because sometimes you do get a little bit of information. And according to Chad Coleman, the actor who plays Tyrese, he claimed that that wasn't intentional. That I think that Tyrese actually believed that he killed Martin, and I don't think that it was, that he lied. It's just that he didn't realize that he didn't kill him. So whether that's the case or not, I don't know, but it may be a possibility, that it's just not easy to kill a human being, and I think that, just beating somebody up, I mean, yeah, sometimes people die of beatings, but other times they don't. So it is very possible that Tyrese just didn't beat the guy enough, you know, and but he's still alive, and I'm interested to see how that unfolds. Maybe Tyrese really did leave him alive, and this just, Coleman's just trying to dodge the question, because obviously you can't reveal too much. So there's definitely possibilities there, but you also have Gareth, who's back. Great job, everybody, for not listening to Rick. But I mean, you see both sides of that, because if they really would have gone back there, there is a chance that more of them could have died. So I see both sides of it. It's really, not something that you can get really that upset about. But, there were some people from Terminus that did survive. Gareth is one of them. Rick's bullet probably just hit him in the shoulder, just like we thought. And they're gathered around the campfire, and they are eating dinner. And, Bob wakes up, and Gareth's like, hey, Bob, hey, what's going on, And Gareth just explains to them, just very paralleled to the comics in the Fear the Hunters volume with Dale, where he's like, Bob, this isn't personal. We just realized that, things have changed, and he talks about what Bob said to him. He was like, Bob, you said that, we can go back, we can fix this. He's like, no, we really can't. We can't go back. This is the way the world is, and this is how we have to be. We have to cannibalize people in order to survive. So we cut your leg off, and we're eating it for dinner. And definitely a shocking scene. I always question whether you actually would be able to put a scene like that on TV, especially on AMC, and well, it looks like you can. Maybe not thankfully, but at least it portrays more of the brutality. So I think if you're looking for realistic, approaches to everything, I think it's a good thing that they could show this. But definitely very shocking, and the episode ends with Bob looking down at his leg. And I have no doubt that basically what's going to happen next week is that they're going to find out that Bob was bitten and that he's tainted meat. No doubt in my mind. It's sad. I'm going to miss Bob. Hopefully we get another episode or two out of him before he does go. It's probably been a couple hours since he's been bitten. I don't know if he's showing signs of fever yet. So I don't really know how long it takes for somebody to die of a bite. I mean, it probably took Jim about 12 hours or more, because he's the only other survivor that's really been bitten and survived for a while after it. So I'm definitely interested to see what is going to happen there, but it's kind of sad what happened to Bob, and it's definitely going to be hard to see how everything comes out from that. But overall, it was a great episode. I was very impressed, and I can't wait for next week. It's going to be a long week, so thank you, everybody, for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. Feel free to subscribe. I have more videos coming. And if you have any topics that you would like to suggest, don't be afraid to do so. Thank you again, everybody, and I really hope that you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.